Hello and welcome to the Great British Baking Show. Oh, I miss that show. But hi, my hair is a mess. I'm still setting it up. But I wanted to pop in to say I'm starting a new reading vlog officially this time because I am pretty sure I'm like 7 to 8 books behind on my Goodreads goal, and that's not great. I want to do a challenge-ish where I do not open my laptop, like at all. And if I do, it's only to edit my videos, so no Wi-Fi. The only reason why Wi-Fi should be on is because I'm looking for music or something, like making my thumbnails or something. It shouldn't be too hard because this week, for the most part, I'm not going to be home, so I'm not going to be taking my laptop with me, and I just want to read. This is my current book. I should have finished it yesterday, but I watched a movie with my family instead. I'm reading Serena Singh Flips the Script by Sonya Lalli. I've read The Holly Jolly Diwali by this author. I believe it was my first book of the year, and I have like a little over 100 pages left of this. I wish I finished it yesterday so I don't have to bring it with me and then have all these extra books to finish, but I want to show you the list of books that I want to bring. The only thing that sucks is that I feel like majority of them might be hardcovers. Wait, let me check what's due at the library first and I'll go in that order.
A few moments later.
I will be taking with me Ayesha at Last, The Devotion of Suspect X, which I believe is the Literally Dead book club pick for June. I think those two books should be fine. And then I have a graphic novel that I would also like to read during this time. I don't think I'll have a video upload for this week if I'm not bringing my laptop because I haven't done any editing for it, so that kind of saves me a lot of time to read more. Hopefully this tides me over till Thursday, which I think it will. I kind of want to bring another book just in case I finish another one. If I do take another book, I think it might be Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. Love a good mystery. So far, this is pretty good. I believe it's a contemporary. For the longest time, I thought this was going to be a romance. Serena is in her late 30s and she's very successful in her field. She doesn't want children and doesn't really know if she wants to get married, although her younger sister wants all of those things, which her traditional parents are very happy about. She has focused so much on her career that she has really let go of her relationships, whether that be her friends, her partner, or like her family, and she's really trying to focus on nurturing more friendships, especially, which has become harder in her older age, learning to reconnect with people and also showing herself that like what she wants is okay and also normal. I finished Serena Singh Flips the Script on my commute yesterday. Yes, and I gave it 3 stars, and Goodreads also confirmed for me that I am 8 books behind, which means that previously I was 9 books behind. I immediately rated this and I gave it 3 stars. I did really find this relatable sometimes, and feeling like what you want to do isn't what everybody else wants to do, and you sort of kind of question yourself on whether that's like the right thing to do or not. I understand that finding new adult friendships is really hard, but I do think that nurturing the ones that you already have is so important, especially as you get older. Like, I really admire people who are still like super duper close with their childhood best friends, and they're like, oh, I've known this person for this long. And I kind of liked that she kind of was like, I can make this on my own. I don't need this and this and this and this just because you do. But I didn't really like have an overall something that kind of stood out for me, and so that's why that's gonna be 3 stars for me. I decided not to bring 3 extra books with me just because today my commute is a little bit shorter as I'm coming from the East Village to work. But I have the 2 books with me. I just don't know which one I should pick yet. Both of them are due on Thursday. Oops. So I've got these 2 books with me. This one is a mystery and this one is a romance. I'm gonna ask Coda. Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Higashino. A mother's determination to protect her daughter drives her to a brutal act. And this one I showed you before, but Ayesha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin, which I think is supposed to be a type of romance, but I also thought that Serena Singh Flips the Script, this book was supposed to be romance, and it wasn't. Okay, mystery. So we're gonna go with the Literally Dead Book Club pick of Devotion of Suspect X. I'm excited for this pick, and Koda said he picked it because he hasn't seen me read a Japanese author in a bit. But the only problem with me is that I have a really difficult time reading translated books because it's translated, and I think that there is an art in translation because you're trying to capture words but also somebody else's and in a completely different language. Especially because I know the Japanese language, it kind of makes me think this is definitely not how it's supposed to be portrayed. And I feel like when I'm reading other books like that for languages that I don't know, I could still kind of sense that. So hopefully this is still going to be an enjoyable time. I feel like sometimes translated works are a little bit more stiff than they're meant to be. Hi, I'm currently in Long Island at Koda's place. We went to the drive-thru to get some food, and look! Hi, Mama. Koda's cat's here with me. I actually read so much today. Not being on my laptop's easy because I haven't been at home. I actually read before work today, which I rarely do because I was waiting for Koda to finish getting ready. So I just decided to start my new book because I had already like doom scrolled through Instagram for the day, for the morning. And so, wow, hi. I haven't seen her in so long. I started The Devotion of Suspect X, and I've read over 100 pages already today, which is wonderful because on the train ride to Koda's place, I read a bit as well. It's actually quite readable. I had pretty low standards or like hopes for it. I think that's why I'm like kind of pleasantly surprised. And I also like that it has a mystery aspect to it. I am, having a good time. So far, the murder has occurred, and now the detectives are asking questions. The man who covered up the murder, I don't really understand his motives. Maybe he just like really likes this woman, but I'm curious to see as to how this is going to go because the murder already happened within like the first chapter or two, and I have quite a ways to go as I'm only 100 pages into it, and this book is about 300 pages, or not quite. Oh my god, do you see that? So cute. They're getting some work done in their house. I know. Wind. Yeah, that's weird. I am a little bit sick, or I have been, and I got a later start to the day. So I had some tea with honey while I did some reading already. Now that Koda is like out of the house and I'm by myself, I wanted to clean his house a little bit because, not because it's like the most disgusting pigsty or whatever, but when I'm here, Koda doesn't let me do anything to help him. He will cook everything, he'll clean everything, and kind of just like treat me as the queen of the house, which I really appreciate and I love him, but I want to be able to give back a little bit. So I think I'm gonna snoop around for some cleaning products and like clean the bathroom at least, because I've already done some reading today, which has been great. I've read maybe 30 pages or so. Ooh, I'm sounding a little bit nasally. This is bad. Yeah, this is bad. I would say maybe halfway into it. In the blurb, a detective's drive for justice leads him into the ultimate battle of wits. But there is like another person who's not necessarily the detective, but is sort of in this consultant standpoint, who is very, very intelligent, as is the man who covered up the mother's crime. The police are really starting to suspect the mother of the murder, even though they hadn't originally, because they don't really know anybody else who might be a possible suspect. Her alibi, they think, is a little bit too on the nose, like it's too good, so they're really like digging into it, trying to pick it apart. So I'm really nervous for her because I don't necessarily say like she's justified in the murder, but the man that they killed, her ex, is not a good person at all. Not to say that that like justifies the murder or anything, but I feel for her situation. I just spent like an hour and a half maybe cleaning, and I feel so good. The bathroom's clean, the floors are clean, you know, I did little things here and there. I feel so amazing. I really love to clean, but when I just get into it, I find it to be so therapeutic, so relaxing. It's a gorgeous day. I have not yet set foot outside. Depending on how hot it is though, I might sit out in his backyard to read a little bit. Let's get down to reading. The ideal goal is to be able to finish the Devotion of Suspect X today, because then when I go home tomorrow, I will have a new book to start. We'll see though, because I'm pretty sure I'm going home during rush hour through Midtown, which sucks. That's gonna be hell. I would really like to be able to start it. It would be a bonus if I finish this in time and started the new book today as well. Oh my, I just finished reading this book. Oh my god, I'm like still kind of processing the ending. I had to do a little bit of Googling to look up if I read it correctly. This book is so tragic, and I feel like the translation of it, the kind of simplifies how tragically beautiful it is. Really, like the devotion, like the title says, of the stranger played out. That's all I'm gonna say. I think I'm giving this book 4 stars, which is awesome for me as I do struggle with translated books. And it's awesome because I finished another book and now my Goodreads goal could go down to being 7 books behind. I would be down to read this author's mysteries as well. I'll have to wait a bit for it, but I'm also gonna be curious to see as to how Lala rates it. I allowed myself 2 YouTube videos to watch on my phone. I don't want to catch up too much because that's not the point of this challenge. I'm back on this couch to start Ayesha at last. This, I think, is a romance for real this time. Ayesha wants to be a poet, but she has set aside that dream to be a teacher in order to pay off her debts. She lives with her boisterous Muslim family, and she is constantly reminded of her flighty younger cousin who is close to rejecting her 100th marriage proposal. Ayesha is lonely, but she doesn't want to get stuck in an arranged marriage, but then she meets Khalid, who is just as smart and handsome as he is conservative and judgmental. She's irritatingly attracted to someone who looks down on her choices and dresses like he belongs in the 7th century. When a surprise engagement is announced between Khalid and Hafsa, Ayesha is torn between how she feels about the straightforward Khalid and the unsettling new gossip she hears about his new family. Looking into the rumors, she finds she has to deal with not only what she discovers about Khalid and also the truth she realizes about herself. Lies? This isn't a romance. This is just a regular contemporary, and I'm thinking that it's gonna be similar to Serena Singh Flips the Script in terms of self-discovery or more self-acceptance, actually. I did something bad, maybe. I put her up here and then found these treats, and now she has a hankering for them, and she knocked this down. Ma'am? I have never seen her act so much like a cat before, like knocking shit down and jumping up here. She came up here by herself this time. She never does stuff like this. And now I already gave you some. This book has a little bit more romance than I had thought. I'm reading quite a lot. I've read over 140 pages of Ayesha last. It's really sweet because of the romance aspect and how different Khalid and Ayesha are, except that they have a thing for each other. I'm a little bit worried though because there is kind of a catfishy trope. I'm not sure why I'm surprised at Hafsa and Khalid's engagement being announced because it's literally in the synopsis, but I feel really bad because Ayesha and Khalid were having this really special bond, which I think is really big for Khalid because he's never really had that with a woman before, like a platonic relationship. And I think that there is a little bit of attraction, but they kind of know that's off limits, but that doesn't make it any less like intriguing, I guess, or like exciting that they have these interests and they like spending time with each other. I just finished Ayesha at last. I really liked this. I'm not quite sure what I want to rate it. I'm thinking it's definitely going to be at least 4, and I'm deciding whether or not it's going to be a 4.5. If I'm talking weird, it's because I took a cough drop that has like a numbing agent because my throat was starting to hurt. Now I'm 6 books down. This was really good. It wasn't too like romance where there's only 2 key players in the story. It was more like contemporary with a little touch of romance. That was like the bonus of it. It also gave me a look into a different culture and how they view marriage and relationships, which is really interesting to see how Western people within that culture also like being raised into that culture as like 1st gen or 2nd gen or whatever it is, and how they view that and how that becomes different for them, because that definitely applies to me. Like what my parents teach me, I'm definitely gonna have a different way of applying that in my life and maybe my children's lives. Oh my god, my jewelry! I forgot to pack that. I also liked seeing how there's all different types of Muslims and like practicing and non-practicing, and how they all view love differently, how all these different people view love differently and as they do in real life, and how that changes your views on relationships and marriages and how they could be applied to you if you just open your eyes a little bit. Like Clara, Ayesha's friend. I'm now home. You could literally see me in the mirror. I think because I've already read so many pages for reading Ayesha at last, I'm going to read a graphic novel today of Vietnamerica and then hopefully just drop it off at the library if I could finish it. And then next, maybe I would like to start The Last Word, because this live show for this book club like already happened. I haven't looked at anybody's reviews or anything, but I think maybe I'll start this. I was just on my laptop, I'm gonna close it now, to write out my Goodreads review just because I prefer typing on my laptop, but I decided to give Ayesha at last 4.25 stars. I really did enjoy it. I also, just looking at other people's reviews, realized that this is a loose retelling of Pride and Prejudice, and I've read Pride and Prejudice just once before, way back when, where I like didn't understand anything, and I've never seen the movie actually, so I think I might give it a try for both. And then I was also on my laptop, like full transparency, just to look at my book of the month selections for June, and then decided to skip it. None of them seemed worth like paying money to own. Hello, it's actually now Tuesday and I need to start a new vlog. I didn't vlog over Saturday because I was with family. Cousin came with his kids, we had a whole potluck. I didn't read at all, and Sunday I just didn't vlog, but because I also went out and barely read. But I wanted to film an outro. Last, I had started reading The Last Word by Taylor Adams and I finished it yesterday. Bad. 2 stars. I did not enjoy No Exit either, and this was not any better. It just felt so predictable. There was parts that were like in little mini POVs of the dog. Didn't enjoy that, and it just like wasn't interesting. The parts were like a different novel POV were like throwing me off. I didn't like love it. I didn't like really enjoy it. It was kind of like, you know, whatever, a different POV. I didn't hate it. I didn't really love it. I don't know if this author is for me. Yikes. Doing a full week of not using my laptop. I read 1,005 pages the whole week, which I feel like I haven't done in a long time because I haven't done like a traditional full week reading vlog either. And because I didn't touch my laptop, laptop, I ended up finishing Serena Singh Flips the Script, right? So that's like a half a book. Devotion of Suspect X, 4 stars, that's 1 book. Ayesha at Last by Uzma, Jalaluddin, 4.25. Vietnamerica by GB Tran, which I didn't rate because it's nonfiction. And then I read The Last Word by Taylor Adams, which is 2 stars. 2 really good reads at the very beginning, but I read 4 books. I can't even remember the last time my calendar like looked so full. I like to write down what day I started each book. In purple, I write like when I started the book, and I love seeing how full it is. I ended up reading 12 books last month, which also felt great because I feel like I haven't been reading as much, and I might continue this, not necessarily do like a full week, but maybe every other day or something. And I enjoyed reading so much, so I'm so happy with how this turned out. I'm still 6 books behind on my reading goal, but I feel really good about having completed as much books as I did last week. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!